So it's different from brand to brand, but what we do is that we track a lot.
Yeah.
We have a lot of data available in-house. If we want to build a brand new brand, it's all about awareness. So we set the KPI, then we make a benchmark. Can we compare this to other brands the same size with the same level of investment? All the way down from the awareness, the consideration, the preference the most often.
Navigating social media can be, well, complicated. Welcome to the Social Media Sucks podcast from Cupco.
Social media really sucks.
Where we unpack the latest trends and help remove the suck from social media.
Welcome back to the Social Media Sucks podcast by Cupco. If you ever experienced the fear of missing out when it comes to social media or marketing trends, then this is definitely the right place for you. We help you level up your marketing and business skills by covering the latest news within social media and through our inspiring guests. But before we start, do us a favor. If you're not already subscribing to our YouTube channel or podcast, please do so now, because it really helps us get all this inspiration and education out there for more marketing and business people just like yourself. So let's get into today's episode.
Yes.
With me, I have our honored guest, Charlotte Høgh Damgaard, who is the head of marketing for alcoholic-free beer, cider, and cocktails at Carlsberg, Denmark. And of course, on my left side, I have our founder, CEO, and office cowboy, Chris Covenus.
Office cowboy. It's being added. Maybe I should have a cowboy hat on
exactly.
then. So, okay.
You have that on LinkedIn as well?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, exactly. So sometimes people call me a cowboy because I'm from Alberta, where all the cowboys in Canada are from anyway.
Exactly.
So,
Yeah, so usually I just present you as a CEO. That's quite boring.
Yeah,
so
but the
today
cowboy's nice. I like it. I'm going to add it to my LinkedIn now, I think. I'm going to
the office cowboy. Yeah.
co-founder, cowboy, and CEO.
Exactly.
I love
Spiced
it.
up your title a little bit.
I probably need to do some
So you
training with the ropes and the horseback riding, but
you
I'll
have
get
a
on top
giant
of that.
dog, so that's not a problem.
He is called the horse.
Yeah, Chris
so,
has a Labradoodle that's like quite large, so
Yeah.
I mean,
Wow,
you can
that's
ride
cute.
him
Yeah,
if you're
he's
a
cute. I should
small
have brought him
person.
today.
What color? Sorry.
He's white.
He's white.
So he's even like a white horse. So
Yeah.
Okay.
And you have a beige hat. That's perfect.
Thanks a lot.
Great.
Great intro.
Yeah. Thanks, guys.
Gonna
for
cut out half of
coming.
that.
It's a set. Yeah. So thank you so much for joining us, Charlotte.
Yeah,
it's an
thank
honor
you.
to have you here, and we would love to hear a little about yourself and your career first and foremost.
Thank you for having me. I'm
You're welcome.
very excited about talking to you guys. And I said this is my first podcast recording, and I just think it's a very interesting media. I know we're not going to talk about the podcast media, but
That's okay. Yeah, we
But
like it.
We can do it
Yeah.
off pod.
Off pod,
no, I
yeah.
think it's very curious. Yeah. So I mean, where to start?
How did you land at this position in Carlsberg?
So that's a long story.
Yeah.
And I started out as a student assistant in Carlsberg, which actually a lot of
Wow.
our staff do. That's sort of your way into it.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, to like promote the talents, we have this graduate program.
Yeah.
And I decided not to sign up for that. So I actually left Carlsberg and went into the tobacco industry. And
Okay.
that's
From beer to tobacco.
from beer to tobacco. And then I was
now fast
planned to
food
take
or
weapon
wait,
next or
weapons.
fast food. Sort of
Like,
a career
okay.
path. No.
So I did the same thing actually. One of my first agency jobs was tobacco, beer, and then Burger King. So
That's nice. Then you
Yeah.
take off
So
all of them, all
yeah.
the dirty ones. Yeah.
I feel your pain.
Yeah, but it was good. And I think that's where I first figured out that I have a very big passion for brands, for marketing. So you should not be in the tobacco industry because it's so restricted.
yeah,
I
it's
mean,
impossible.
alcohol is as well, but it's just in a different way. And especially in Denmark, we are very fortunate that we can still promote
Do
the
somewhat.
brands. We can still do some very fun stuff.
Yeah.
So I was lucky and fortunate to come back. Had a great manager who believed in me. And
Great.
then I was promoted brand manager. And then it just really rolled out from there.
Nice.
Which brand?
So I started out in what we call craft and specialty
Okay.
beer brand. So I
Okay.
actually took care of, I hope you know, the Brooklyn Brewery brand.
Yes.
From,
Yes,
from
of
Brooklyn,
course.
New York. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so you took care of that.
Such a cool
So that's
brand.
brewed here with their recipe, or is it just
wasn't-
imported?
It's brewed here now, but it wasn't back then.
It wasn't back then. Okay.
And I was looking after Guinness and
Okay.
Erdinger, which is our
Yeah.
third-party partners.
Nice.
So it was like, you know, the starter brands, you can say, where you start to get some experience.
Okay.
And then I took over the specialty brands, Grinbergen and 1664 Blanc, so the Kronenberg brand.
I love that.
And then...
I spent a lot of time
That's
at
the
their
only
tent
beer I can
during
drink.
Roskilde Festival. So
yeah. And then it basically just took off from there.
Yeah.
So I was just lucky to work with some great brands and have great people around me, and then it just grew from there.
That's nice to hear a success there, but can you tell us what the greatest challenge of your career has been? If any.
There's been a lot. I think I'll start saying myself. I mean, because I mean,
it's a good challenge.
It's a good challenge, right? No, but I mean, the corporate world is different, and there's a lot of stakeholders, and there's a lot of you need to know how you manage the stakeholders and how you behave in such a big company. But then I think, I mean, throughout my career, what you would say, I've always been second guessing what I did, and I also always wanted to do better and to go higher, if you could say.
So ambitious.
Very ambitious, but also I think I learned throughout the way you need to slow down, and you need to start also at some point trusting yourself.
It's a modest way of approaching it, I think. Maybe it's also a part of the Janteloven in Denmark we have. Like, it's are I good enough? And,
but it's also a learning curve. I mean, I graduated in 2016. So 6 years ago, I was a student. I finished as a student assistant. So it's also been a very fast journey that I had to.
You should be proud of that. I think that's really nice.
Thank you.
Really
Do you
cool
have if you could speak to younger Charlotte, or a younger marketeer who strive to be in the same position as you are, what advice would you give them?
Yeah, I actually thought about that. I never had a career path saying I want to go from here to here to here, because I don't believe in that, because I think you do better if you do something that you find funny or find interesting. So I think that's like the most. Never take a job for the resume or because you think. I mean, sometimes I have a lot of dialogues with people. Oh, do you think I should take this job, or should I go into this position as a stepping stone? Like, no, it's not going to be a stepping stone, because companies change.
Stepping stones.
No, and they change all the time. I mean, come on, there's just been a pandemic, and we could not foresee what happened to the teams, etc.
No.
So I wouldn't make a career plan.
Experience, go for the thrill of it.
And then grab the opportunities that presents, that comes. And I was very fortunate to get some opportunities, and I also thought, can I do that? Am I good enough for that? But at some point, just have to say, yes, I take it, and then I do it, and then you will develop from there. Yeah,
it's good advice, and I think actually what I've noticed, because I think I was a little bit the same as you, and actually I've recognized that in a few people here at the office as well, like super ambitious. Flies here. Got him.
That's ambitious.
I didn't get him. No, so super ambitious, and then they get into it and they realize that, they can be super fast about it, but that's not necessarily how things unfold. So they have to take a little bit of a step back and sort of maybe just chill out a bit and let things come to them. And so I think it's a common occurrence.
But it's also maybe the very classical one about it's about the journey and the process, not about the target. But actually, that is true.
It's kind of a mix of the two, I think.
It's a mix.
You have to have a target, but then you have to be able to enjoy the ride, not just the end goal.
Exactly.
Otherwise, you're gonna get to the end goal and be like, oh shit.
Life is dynamic. Companies are dynamic. Business is dynamic. You just kind of have to follow along.
Roll with the punches a bit.
Exactly. That's how we learn.
Yeah.
So
it's a good tip.
Yeah, that's a really good tip. Can you tell us then, how do you motivate your team? How do you lead your team nowadays that you have one?
Yeah. So I got a team, I think it's 2 years ago, but a very small one. And it was a team and a team. And then this year I got my own team. So now I'm in charge of a team, and I need to make sure that they're doing fine. And whenever they are sick or ever, I have to cater for them. So, basically, I try to make sure that we have fun in what we do, and that people can find a passion in everything, because we have so many different brands and we have different areas that we have to deliver within in the marketing organization in Carlsberg. So we need to have fun together. We also need to, it's a very fast-paced environment. And sometimes we also need to slow down a bit and take some time out, enjoy what we did, or celebrate the wins or whatever.
When you're moving fast, it's hard to celebrate those things.
We are very, very bad at celebrating.
We have the same issue here.
Exactly. And a lot of companies are, because it's so fast, and we also very result driven and performance focused. So it's all about the result. It's all about the next month and the next month and the next year. I'm doing 25 plans right now for 25.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, that's far ahead.
It's very far ahead. So I don't know. I really try to make them aware that they are in charge of their brands. They're the CEO of the brands that they run.
Yeah.
And they, should have the liberty to do what they think is right. And then I'm here to support them and to provide, my inputs, my experience.
Yeah. I think it's nice that you mentioned the fun part, because I do. There's I don't know what it is in Danish, but someone told me that there's a Danish phrase, and maybe it's not Danish, but that you only have the fun that you make.
Yes.
And I love that phrase, because it really sets a tone of, you have to bring it.
Yeah.
If you don't bring the fun, if you don't set out to make that fun, then you won't have it, right?
No.
And as leaders, you have to do that. If you show up downtrodden or sad, or then, as a leader, you can't be that. You have to. Of course, you can be vulnerable and emotional and show your true side, but at the end of the day, you really have to bring it.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's up to you.
Law of attraction as well.
Yeah,
what you get is what you
put out is also what you kind of receive, right? If you do more fun stuff will come to you, and if you do stuff you don't like, more of the stuff you don't like will come. So,
but of course, there's stuff we have to deliver, and we are measured against what we deliver, and we have performance reviews, and it is a very also competitive environment that we work within. But we try. You have these rumors of consultancy houses that it's very like have those elbows and shoulders
Round
get up my way. I want to go high.
I want to be a partner next year.
And
like
we
that.
could have that culture as well, but somehow we manage. I think it's because the nature of what we do is socialized. So the products we have is a social enabler. So that also takes maybe the top of it. So it's not too competitive, but we also enjoy what we do. We're quite fortunate. That's why I've been in Carlsberg for 8 years. We're so fortunate. We work with some of the biggest brands in the industry, and we have to be proud of that, and have to think that is an asset for us.
Really,
exactly,
definitely.
Yeah.
So I think both our local, national and global audience would know Carlsberg, but please give us a little introduction and refresh our memories of what you guys
Carlsberg?
do.
What's Carlsberg?
What is this company?
Never heard of you guys.
So, we are a brewing company, and actually we are the third biggest brewing company in the world.
Wow.
And of course, our core business is making beers and selling beers and selling beer brands. But we are also much more than that. We are a beverage company, you could say. We also have different categories. So, for instance, I'm also heading up the Cider, so Somersby, for instance, which is also a very big international brand. Yeah. We are doing cocktails right now. We have, so in Denmark, we collaborate with Coke, with Coca-Cola. We are partner with them. We also have the soft drink territory. So, it's
all around beverage.
It's all around beverage, but our core is beer.
Yeah.
And I actually had to look it up. We cater to more than 150 markets in the world.
Okay.
Wow.
So we are, a global global corporation.
That's almost in every sovereign nation on the planet, right?
We're not big in the US, and I don't know why, but US is also a very dominant and dominant beer market. But apart from that, we're big in Asia and in the whole Western Europe, Eastern Europe.
I used to actually, at my old agency, I used to have Carlsberg as a client. Carlsberg Denmark and also Carlsberg World.
What agency was that?
It's Atomic.
Yeah. I've never worked with them.
No,
but
it was probably, there's been ups and downs with the Carlsberg account for many years of that agency. I don't know where it stands today, but I did a lot of funny stuff. Did a campaign in China for a new beer. That was kind of fun. Yeah. Did some radio spots actually. I was like, I have no idea what they're saying, but sounds good. Sounds like a radio ad.
Chinese.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, what are they saying? Something about butterflies, because everything in Chinese had to be like metaphorical in some ways. Like a lot of things are tied. You
can paint like this vivid association.
Yeah, exactly. So it was very poetic, and I was like, sounds
great.
Good. Yeah. They were like, the Chinese will love this.
We go live.
Do it.
So that's cool.
I've done quite a bit of stuff.
Carlsberg.
Yeah, very well.
Yeah. But for Carlsberg, who are your stakeholders from day to day?
Within your department.
Yeah, within my department. Yeah. Okay. So first of all, and I think we'll come back to that later, but what I care about is how consumers respond to our brands, what they think about them, and if they prefer them over any other of our competitors. But in day-to-day, my stakeholders is the global company, of course. We have global brands, and we want strategies to be aligned in China, in Denmark, and
So
but
somewhat
it's not
cohesive. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's not always possible. Then
cultures.
we have a trade marketing team, and we have a big sales team. And so it will be the key account managers for different accounts in both retail and for restaurants and so on.
Yeah, okay.
So these will be my most important. And then, of course, the leadership team. So I can convince them that we should do this instead of this.
Yeah, it's quite a matrix you're working with.
Yes. So, I mean, there's a lot of stakeholders that you have to take into account and make sure that you build the right storyline and tell the right stories. And
Is
I mean,
that
it's
the
also
hardest
political.
part, do you think, of your job? Or do you think Yeah.
Yeah, actually, I think.
Is it the hardest part? Yeah.
Yeah,
probably.
because I mean, of course, when you are in a house like Carlsberg, there's so many brands to take into account.
Yeah.
And
you don't want to cannibalize each other.
we do. Yeah,
you do want to cannibalize each other.
We do cannibalize.
Yeah.
Well, we try not to.
You try not to,
but
but
of
it
course,
does
I mean,
happen.
if you take Carlsberg and Tuborg, they are just bigger brands than what we have in our portfolio. So you need to how can I phrase it to
be mindful.
Yeah, but also I'm trying to be. So when I was brand manager, I was like, so my brand needs this. I need this much budget, and I have to do this, and I don't care about the other brands. But then when I moved up the ladder, I figure out, okay, I have to have a holistic view to define what's best for the company. And that is a hard
switch, right?
That's very interesting,
Very different.
and
POV.
that's a very hard exercise, I think.
It's difficult.
So, but yes, it's a hard part. It is a hard
And I
part.
guess probably at the time when you were a brand manager, your boss was probably like telling you, you got to look at the bigger picture.
Oh yeah,
and you were like,
all the
no,
time.
I'm gonna be like,
I have to do this because that's right.
And
for
then
the
when
brand.
you got to that position, you're like, oh yeah, I did need to look at the bigger picture. Crap.
Exactly. And I think that's a switch.
Yeah.
And
so there's a lot of different stakeholders from your job, your position, but for the brand, there's also both this B2B and B2C kind of perspective. So how do you make your marketing decisions based on your audience, and how do you choose then what channels, media you would use?
But maybe we back up a second, because I hope many marketers here would understand that there's a B2B and a B2C side.
Yeah.
But maybe you can explain that in the beverage industry. How does that actually work? Like, what is that
for you
split?
guys?
Yes, definitely. So we have more than 50% market share of the beer market here in Denmark, which means that we cannot sell directly to consumers. We cannot, if Carlsberg, for instance, wanted to open up a beer bar tomorrow, we could not do that. So we will never be able to sell directly. We have to go through what we define as customers.
Yeah.
So that will be food techs and Kvickly and 7-Eleven,
Retail,
and then it will
grocery.
be the nightclubs and the restaurants and so on and so forth. So I just had a customer meeting yesterday where we present the plans for next year to them, and that's my first gate into this. And that's the B2B part, and that's the sales department taking care of that. And then the B2C is actually my job, but I cannot sell the product directly to consumers, but I need to talk directly to consumers to make them create a preference for
So make them
brand
go to the
position.
store to buy the product, or go to the bar, ask for it at the restaurant, whatever it is.
So we do the normal media campaigns, SoMe campaigns, TV campaigns, targeting towards the audience we want to. But we can never actually, and I think that's where it differs. So, for instance, if we do an Instagram ad or so, we can never add a link to here's where you can buy it, and maybe you would not do that for a beer. I mean, maybe it's still
So
maybe
it's a
in
lot
the
of
future.
upper funnel stuff you guys have to do, right?
Exactly.
To make that brand precision for your customers, or direct to consumer at least.
Exactly. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah,
that makes
does
sense.
that make sense?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I think, but I don't think many people understand that, that it isn't a case of you're trying to influence a public, but your customer is not them. Your customer is the store. Your customer is the restaurant, the bar. That's your
so we work a lot with this Byron Sharp phrase, so the mental and physical availability. And I can spend, the mental up here, top of mind, generate that through the media campaigns, but then make sure it's available in store. Because, of course, it makes no sense to push, 10 million in the media budget if you cannot find it anywhere. There could be, some hype strategy behind that. But that's not how you run the business. It's not efficient.
No.
So we are very dependent upon that we have the distribution with our customers. Yeah.
And it's not I don't know if it's a great strategy for a brand to do, your kind of brand to do that, because you're just going to choose another beer. You're going to be basically
it's not niche enough.
You're basically going to be promoting your competitors.
We're not an iPhone, so
No,
it's
people
different.
won't wait for you. Like
No,
they'll
they're
be
not. They're not line up.
I'm not gonna
like,
drink till then.
Yeah, it's like, what? I can't get some 1664 now? I guess I'm gonna go somewhere
leaving
else.
the
Yeah,
store.
exactly.
Yeah,
I never.
no.
Yeah, exactly. I'll
Yeah.
wait till next week.
Yeah, exactly. That's not how it works, right?
No, they'll just be
So,
like, okay, I'll
Yeah,
take this.
it's not
Let's go.
Yeah, not in this culture at least.
No.
So
No.
how do you then balance your marketing between these two kind of stakeholders?
We only make marketing and branding
Okay.
towards them.
Yeah.
What we do, you could say, is that we spend a lot of time convincing customers. So we present to them our strategy, but we don't do anything online. Well, we have, of course, it sits within sales. So they do all the, when they have
Okay.
to, when customers have to order our brands, they have make this nice
Presentation.
presentation, and we have websites, of course, where they can order themselves instead of having sales reps visiting them.
That's good.
So our online business is quite big, B2B as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah,
So
makes
there we
sense.
can do some promotion and
Yeah.
tell nice stories and hear what's new. We do this and this campaign
Yeah.
for this brand. So
This
you
new
should
product's
jump the
coming
ride.
out. This is this. Yeah.
Exactly. But
Cool.
I mean, that's still, we deliver some assets to it. So
Yeah.
it has the same look between what we show consumers and what we show the customers. But
Okay.
I only care about the consumer part.
consumers,
Despite I cannot sell the
Yeah.
product directly to them.
So how do you? Okay, that's very interesting because then how do you set KPIs? How do you measure any of your success, or how do you define your KPIs then?
From a media perspective,
Yeah.
so we track a lot. And
Yeah.
we have a lot of data available in-house. So for instance, if we want to build a brand new brand, it's all about awareness. So we set the KPI, then we make a benchmark.
Yeah.
So can we compare this to other brands the same size with
Right.
the same level of investment? It's also
Right.
about money and budget, right?
Of course.
Of course.
And then based on that, so we work with the funnel as well, all the way down from the awareness, the consideration, the preference, the most often, and down to the
Purchase or
exactly,
Yeah,
yeah.
I think this is
conversion.
by
Yeah.
segment as well, right? You might have
Exactly.
95% on a product for a certain segment, but maybe it's, for example, like for female purchasers versus male purchasers,
Yeah, exactly.
etc. Like I'm guessing you guys have some splits, and you probably look at it and go, okay, this year we want like to, if we're going to increase market share within women, we have to do X, Y, and Z. or whatever.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And we do deep dive into the different segments. I mean, Carlsberg and Tuborg are so big brands, have been here for a long time. But
Maybe
if you
don't
take
need
the 1664 brand that
Yeah.
I used to work with, I mean, it's a very different audience. It's much younger and it's more skewed towards the females. So
Yeah.
then we set the KPIs based on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
Where have you guys seen the most effects when you do social media? No, sorry, not social media, but just marketing efforts. Is it when you do PR events? Is it when you guys do social media events? It's social media campaigns, or is it TV ads? Is it
Yeah.
banners? I mean, I don't know if you can categorize it like that, because I guess it's a unified.
I
It's
mean,
hard, right?
performance,
You're running
yeah.
everything at once.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's hard to say like,
But
oh,
yeah, is
No,
there
but-
anything that kind of stands out?
So I think what's difficult in our business, so of course everything is about sales. It's about generating money. We
Yeah.
are a listed company, so we need to create some results.
Yeah.
But we also need to make sure that our brands are healthy so we can create those results. But it's very hard to, and maybe that's back to your KPI question, sometimes it's very hard to measure when we do an investment and we do a media campaign. Can we then link it directly to if we see an uplift in sales?
Yeah, that's-
Because
Yeah.
again, it's dependent on so many different factors.
Exactly.
yeah.
But I would say, again, depends on the target. But if we need to build awareness, I mean, we've seen huge effect by investing a lot in TV and social media and this. I mean, everything together. Then you can really see an uplift in the KPIs, and most likely it's also linked to the sales performance and the numbers. And that's what since we have so many brands in the company, we try to make sure that when we do investment, then we also make sure that all the retailers have the same focus. So for instance, let me give you an example. When we have a Euro campaign, so in 21 we did a huge Euro campaign with
Yeah.
Carlsberg. And then of course we make sure that we are on shelf with the Euro campaign design,
Yeah.
and we are present below the line and up above the line to maximize the investment.
Yeah.
And then hopefully it also pays off, that we can see in the numbers that in that period, at least, consumers...
It spikes the sales.
Exactly. So then it becomes very efficient when we do everything together, like in a free classical 360.
Yeah,
360 way.
Course, yeah.
Yeah.
When it's so based on segments or events, do you guys kind of divide your channel efforts? Like, do you see a value in that? Like dividing your content to cater to different segments?
Yes.
Like, what platforms do you guys think in now, and what do you try to do, basically?
In general, so the beer market is very much driven by some heavy users who drink a lot of beers.
Heavy users.
Heavy.
Why are you looking at me?
I'm not. I'm just trying to around.
She's like
Heavy users.
pointing me out. Like I feel.
I hope you drink
She
beer.
woke up and chose violence today, folks.
No, but I mean, we have a very, and thank God for that. We have a very, a lot of people drink beer here in Denmark,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So if I want to
She's
read,
escaping her way out of it. No, it's okay.
No.
I don't drink a lot of bear.
no, you
Not a
don't.
lot. I mean,
No, me
I don't,
neither.
actually.
Me neither.
But it's okay.
Only one.
Spirits.
It's mostly alcohol. Anyways, keep going.
Yeah.
No, so
Yeah, you guys have some heavy users. Yeah, of course. But Denmark in general, I mean, like, alcohol consumption in Denmark is off the hook.
yes.
You guys.
I hope you would not go into that direction.
No, but it is. I mean, it's like, but it's
It is.
it's not
It
a
is.
drunken society in any means, but it is like,
No.
when I got here, I was like, whoa, okay, all right, we're drinking, all right, all right.
Any occasion is okay to
Basically,
drink.
like
Yeah.
yesterday, we had one of our colleagues say goodbye to us, and he brought shots in the morning. And
Okay,
I
wow.
was okay. That's a
Dani-
that's a start to the
Danish
day.
way.
Fred, you missed it.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
So, but I think that's also
I know.
very, you know,
But it's not only beer; it's just in general.
in general, alcohol
consumption.
consumption is, you know,
Exactly.
higher.
maybe
Yeah.
that's part of that. You know, you only have the fun that you make.
Yeah.
Sort of part of the society.
Yeah.
Don't tell. No comments, Charlotte. No comments.
No, but you're right. So
Let
keep
him say it.
Sorry, we went off in a tangent
No,
there,
no,
but
no,
there is some heavy
We
users.
agree, and we
Yeah.
also have to act responsibly and make sure that people drink
Yes.
responsibly.
Yes.
Which we take a lot of pride in
Agree.
as well.
Drink responsibly, folks.
Yes, please.
Yes.
Always drink
We will add the
responsibly.
disclaimer as well.
Yes,
when we-
Throughout
please.
the
when we air
whole
episode.
episode.
Yeah.
Exactly, but also have fun, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So it's a balance.
Yeah.
No, my point was just so if we need to reach that kind of audience, of course we will look into their media behavior.
Yeah.
And very often they're still heavy users of Flow TV as well. I
Yeah.
mean, they still exist, right?
Yeah.
So
I was
that,
just gonna say they must. I mean, TV must be a great media.
it's still
stuff
a
for you
great
guys.
media.
Yeah, of course.
But what we also did see and we need to, of course, we want to make sure that the next generation also chooses beer
Yeah.
when they want to go out or they're watching a football game, etc. And their view, of course, of Flow TV is just on a very steep decline.
Yeah.
So that's where we want to go into, of course, the social media. So that will be Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat in some cases, depending on the brand.
Yeah. Makes sense.
And then YouTube, etc. So
Yeah.
it's different strategies based on the different brands. But back to your point in terms of what is more efficient,
Yeah.
TV is still very much efficient. Also the video on demand, etc. I mean, all of these kind of things is still very, very efficient, and we can talk about formats and messages later on. But if we want to, of course, speak to the younger audience, and when we talk about attention span, all these kind of things, we need to, of course, be present at where they are.
Yeah.
It's a balance of investments, right?
Yeah.
New users
Exactly.
versus old users versus.
But for a brand, and I think I can be quite transparent about that, for a brand like Brooklyn and 1664, I mean, it's
Younger.
80 to 20 towards the digital part. I
Yeah.
mean, we don't need TV for that. Maybe we need some sponsor spots for that because it still generates quite a big
you want the
reach.
placement, you want the
Exactly,
exposure.
but we don't do a TV commercial.
Yeah.
Also, of course, it's
But is
also
that's weird because you would say, okay, is that because the audience is younger, or is that because is that why?
because it's younger.
Yeah.
consumer. Yeah,
Exactly.
is younger.
So you're not going
And-
to catch them there.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
we work very closely together with the media agency, of course, and make very detailed strategies per brand. And everything is linked to their behavior. So we can try to reach them when they're, on the platforms they use and on the different, media channels. But
makes
that had
sense.
also made, if we go, I talked to our digital manager about this. And if you go back, I don't know, 10 or 15 years, you had TV, you have outdoor, And then you had
Print.
Print was still there. Yeah.
Your own media as well, like newsletters. I guess,
exactly.
Websites.
Websites was
Yeah.
very important.
Tons of microsites.
Exactly. And now you just have a much more fragmented media landscape, which also, I mean, requires that we adapt to that, but also that we develop, I mean, the different content from the different formats. And that is,
you gotta have muscles to do that.
Exactly. It's super expensive. It's super fragmented and very challenged. So it's just...
and it changes all the time. You really have to be on top of, you know, all these changes. Like small stuff do matter.
It's a different game. Yeah.
But it's also an opportunity. So
yes,
like I really talk about, I think that not so much the fragmented part, but the ability to determine, and if you have the money, that's also a case. It is an investment to really tailor your content, your advertising to the platform, to the person, to the places that you're being exposed on. Even down to, you know, okay, we're going after this influencer, we're using this spokesperson, or to get different segments and to get a different content mix. I think the hard part is orchestrating that all together and being cohesive, so that it's not all over the freaking place. And then I think then obviously like measuring it and seeing, does it actually work? And for you guys, it is so difficult to measure it because it's a brand awareness thing. It's a top of mind thing. In most of the categories, you're just continuing to invest to ensure that you're, you know, going to be purchased again.
Exactly.
You might have loyalty already, but you want to prevent sort of, what do you want to say, cheating on the brand in some ways. You want to prevent people from going outside of their core, they buy all the time.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, generating loyalty is very hard these days, but that's what that's why we invest. That's why
and that's why you have extra brands as well, because it's like, okay, maybe it's still in our sort of wheelhouse, so we have this extra one here and there.
But I think you're super right about the opportunities it generates as well.
It's difficult to grasp those.
Yeah, it can be.
We find that very much here, that it is hard, and I think brands are going to get it, but it's taking strong. You need big teams. I think it comes down to big teams.
And then also you need, so we don't have any in-house agencies. We
really don't. Okay.
No, we don't.
All right, we talked to a lot of in-house agencies the past few podcasts.
Oh, is that still a thing?
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
definitely.
Well, it's always it's a hot not sort of thing. Like
it is.
For 5-6 years, maybe 10 years, it'll be hot. And it'll be not, and then it'll come back, and
then come back.
It's just
I
the way
think
it is.
since we have so many brands, we want to make sure that we have a different mindset per brand, and that we can think out of the box. Because if we had in-house agencies, maybe it will just be, and when in busy time, we just do the same as we do on this brand, or
exactly. It's like, that background that'll work for this brand, and that background,
and then we copy that. So we work with agencies, but it's also been a journey, and I'm very close with the creative agencies that we have. It's also been a journey for them to go from this 30-second TV format, then make some cut downs of these, but when now it's vice versa. So we have to start
at the social
how
side.
can you in like 3 seconds, 5-10 seconds, I mean, get the attention.
It goes down 3, 2, 1.
Exactly. Still tell a story. You cannot tell a story in 3 seconds. It's impossible. But then unfold it. So it's the other way around. And agencies need to adapt to that as well.
I mean, if I could rant for a minute here, I don't know how many campaigns we've received from lead creative agencies that are supposed to be leading. I'm talking to you motherfuckers that are just handing over 30-second TV spots to us and saying, you guys make it work. And it's like, are you kidding me? This is you got to think of it from the inception. Like from the get-go, you have to think of, how is this going to work where people are, which is usually social or some sort of web format, some sort of digital format, right? So it's a bit of a challenge. I mean, that's why we exist. I mean, we're a social media agency, so we exist because you're talking about this thing that you needed sort of ideas to start there.
Exactly.
And that's where we start. So it's but we still get stuff from lead creative.
Make a nice cut down.
Yeah.
And it ends up being like a pack for us. It ends up being a pack shot or very simple
very
tactical
fast.
post.
So
which is efficient as well, but it's not building any brand equity. And that's also, of course, very important from our side.
Yeah, and I think it's missed opportunity.
Yeah,
that's how I look at it. I mean, say what you will about being efficient. It's like there was an opportunity here to crush it on social or digital, and we're just not going to be able to.
No.
So yeah. That's my rant. Sorry, guys.
Okay,
If you're
it
listening,
wasn't
yeah,
bad.
it wasn't bad.
I heard. Yeah, I heard.
Okay, I'm
worse.
getting
I heard
lighter
you.
in my.
I heard you say.
I'm
worse.
getting lighter in my
I'm
older
like, I
age.
just
I'm getting
did a hand gesture with Martin. I was like, okay, so we have to edit a lot of beeps in, just so you know, just so we're aware. It's like the beeping.
Okay, so I'm getting better.
Yeah.
Usually I'm really out there. So.
Yeah, you're getting older,
Yeah,
wiser,
wiser.
just more grounded.
More
I
It's
can
a
feel that.
process and
Yeah,
learning
yeah.
curve.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That yoga's
It's a journey.
paying off.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's a wild ride we've been on.
I had less beer today, so
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah. Only tequila that helps you. That helps you in the morning. Yeah, it helps.
Was it shots this morning or yesterday?
it was yesterday.
Okay.
And it was like those Månbitters, you know?
Oh,
it was Månbitters, so.
I've
Yeah.
never
Did you have
understood
one?
that part.
No, okay. You missed out, Martin.
Yeah.
Next time.
So actually, let's dive into the social media. Okay. Actually, before we go into that, I want to dive into the social media as well. I'm just curious. How do you use your data to? Do you ever use data to innovate on new brands or something when you collect? all
No.
this? Of course it does. I mean,
I love that question.
no. I mean,
No, we
you
don't.
could-
But you mean, when we do
New-
campaigns or new products?
new products.
Oh yeah. So
Yeah.
we never ever make a decision without it's backed up by some insights.
Of course.
We have a whole insights
Yeah.
team. I'm not sure competitors should know that, but I mean we're such a big company.
I think everybody does
I think
now.
we are actually sometimes we're blind by all the data we have,
Yeah.
and I think
that's the tough part.
the
Too much
ability or
data.
capability you need to develop is to what's the most important stuff here. And people see it differently, right? So that's back to my point around stakeholders. You really need to be very strong in how you actually understand what you see. We agree this is the trend. Okay, let's go do this. I can be honest around that. So hot seltzers, for instance.
Hot
you know
what?
the hot seltzer?
Hard seltzer.
You should know
Oh,
that.
yeah, hard
I mean,
seltzer. They said
seltzer.
hot.
No, hot.
Hot
no.
seltzer. I'm like,
Like what?
I've heard of hard seltzer. Yes,
So, hard
The
seltzers.
hard seltzers. That's a great category.
Exactly.
Yeah.
In the
It's good.
US.
Yeah, in the US is massive. Like,
Exactly.
What's the big one there?
It's a White Claw.
Yeah, White
That's
Claw.
very
Yeah,
big. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, White Claw. So good.
So we saw that hard seltzers are
Yeah.
just booming
Yeah.
in the
Yeah,
US and slowly coming to Europe. Like with the IPAs, we saw IPAs growing in the US, and then now it's a big.
Is that
big
usually
trend.
the way it is? Like the US is a forerunner?
So that's my point, because hard
Yeah.
seltzers in Denmark,
Yeah.
no one understood it. So despite
yet.
we had the data, which we always have, you can never foresee whether it's going to be a trend or
Yeah.
not.
That's true.
So that's where you need to. Sometimes you need to trust that you think there's going to be a trend, and you
Yeah.
take some chance. We've had, of course, we had some innovations that were not what we thought, and then we had some where it's like, okay, wow, that went big and bigger than we
Yeah,
thought.
okay.
So we.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's very interesting.
But you guys
yeah.
haven't done a hard seltzer yet?
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
we
you
have.
do.
It's still so we have under the Summersby brand. We
Yeah.
have two
Oh, okay.
two different. So
That makes
again,
sense.
it's how do you do
but is that
that?
the right way to do it?
And that's
That's
of course not,
that's-
because it's not booming. So,
Yeah, okay, because
that's
that's like
no.
I think that product innovation is a weird one. Sort of cut you off, but I do think like the direction towards new is of course like a pull everybody can agree with. Like, oh, that's new. Whereas if you threw it under a Summersby brand, sorry, I'm butchering your language here, Summersby brand, then you would be like, is that new?
I agree.
Right. So like if it has a new sort of thing, then people go, oh, I got to try this. And then Summersby is known so much for cider.
I
it's
agree.
hard to get away
But
from
I'm
that.
happy you say cider, because
Yeah.
that's what we are. But we
Yeah.
tried to be a lot of different kind of things,
okay, and it
heading
didn't-
up with Breeze and so on. But I had 2 years in innovation, in the innovation team as well. And I agree with you, but when we do new stuff and build new brands,
It's expensive.
you need money to
Yeah.
do that.
Yeah.
So is it better to, invest
Yeah.
and then maybe you fail?
Yeah.
Or should you utilize a strong brand? Summersby is quite strong.
Yeah.
And then try to
Tap into
Yeah.
the market and see
educate
how it goes.
consumers. Yeah.
I agree. It's hard.
So
like,
it's
it's easy to
always
sit
the
here.
discussions
It's
we
always
have in-house,
It's
right?
super easy to sit here at hindsight and be like, is that the right way?
Yeah.
But the reality is like, you guys made probably the right decision, because it is such an innovative area or a new area that you're
Exactly.
like, should we actually go make new cans,
But
new design,
the
new
funny
brand?
part is that all the whole industry made hard seltzer. So Smirnoff, Royal Unibrew, Carlsberg, Bacardi, everyone did a seltzer, and everyone has taken them out the market because it's not a trend.
Work.
It didn't work.
Okay,
So that stayed in the US.
Okay.
And we don't know why.
Yeah.
So that's,
but maybe it can have its moment again, and
But you
maybe
think
the culture just not mature enough for it.
It's
I
so
don't know.
weird. I thought it would. I actually thought it would be big here.
Me too.
Because
it's so big
dance
among the
band-
younger drinkers in the US.
Because it is like Danish water, Dansvan as we call it, is essentially that with just added stuff.
I mean, back in my high school, it was a skinny bitch. So you
It is still a skinny bitch.
So
It is still.
This is
They
it.
haven't
Oh,
changed.
so sorry.
They haven't
Don't get all
changed.
Never mind. It was a skinny bitch. So I'm like, no, so am I.
Yeah.
So back to your question,
Yeah.
we always use data.
Of course, and actually the reason why I asked such an obvious question, it was a little bit complicated segue, but actually looping back into social media is like, do you ever use your community on social media or monitor, kind of interact with the community to get this data to, you know, what can we do better on and etc. How do you guys interact and build communities on social media?
Oh, that's a very interesting question. I wish we had like a Lego model, because that's what they are very good at, right?
Yeah.
Integrating the community into what they should do next and make collabs with them.
Yeah.
We don't actually, and it's not because, well, we do in a way. When we launch new products, for instance, we do what we call consumer tests. So we ask them, look at this brand, would you buy this, taste this, do you like it or not? And then we get all kind of insights, and we do that for the majority of our innovations. Sometimes we see trends in other markets, then we just trust that it will trend in Denmark as well.
Okay.
Otherwise we ask consumers, but it's not through social media.
Yeah.
And the thing about
Focus groups.
it's focus groups, it's online surveys, normal consumer tests, you would say.
Yeah.
But then for the social media part, we actually had a discussion around it today, whether we should invest in building communities around the brands, because can we be relevant as a beer brand? Can we, attract, do people want to follow us? I mean, we have one brand where it works very well. You also have
What
a
brand is
Carlsberg.
that?
So that's 1664.
Does it work really well for them? Yeah.
On
because-
on Instagram, it really does, because we create... we collab with a lot of partners, so fashion partners, Fashion Week, etc. And so we generate some different content. It's still provided by Blanc, but it's not around the beer at all. It's about the
it's
community.
everything else.
Association, they kind
Exactly.
That's
of. I know,
how I think you have to do it. It has to be
Agree.
everything outside
Yeah.
of the beer.
Exactly.
The beer is just like you said, a social aspect of it.
Yeah.
And then you can,
Exactly.
go everything around
But
it.
just doing an
It's a
Instagram
statement
with,
as well. It's not only kind of social aspect. It's a statement where you are, what you're holding at an event, and it's a kind of a signal when you sit outside of the restaurant, and people walk past and see what kind of beer you drink and how they will guess what kind of person you are, basically.
Yeah. But I think for some brands it would make sense, and we also have quite some big communities on some brands, but it's also, sorry of being so money focused, but having a community team sitting, we're not like a hotline where you can call us, say, where can I buy this beer? That's not how the beer industry works. So we don't really do that a lot.
But you're in the non-alcoholic segment, so
Now I am,
now
but I
you
have
are.
a holistic view on the
Yeah,
company.
I like that too. So for example, one brand that we talk a lot about at the agency is Liquid Death.
Sorry?
Liquid Death. Have you
The
been
water.
following them?
Yeah.
No?
Okay, so
What's that?
there's a
Sorry.
water brand in the States called Liquid Death.
Liquid Death.
Liquid Death.
As in death.
Check them out, because
Okay.
you guys should bring them to Denmark. So
Okay.
I don't know, maybe you shouldn't. Apparently, don't listen to me.
That's water?
That's water.
Oh, it looks like beer.
Yeah, it looks like beer. So
Hot seltzer or
they've sort
something.
of taken the strategy of being like a beer looking or an energy looking brand, drink brand, but
Cool.
it's just canned water. And they've built this sort of like culture around it, or this community around it, that's just like, they love it. So it's very meme driven. It's very like everything outside. Like they had a commercial like a few months ago, which was like, everyone was tasting. They were like liquefying things like caviar and like just weird things that they were liquefying and saying, "Hey, drink this versus this. Which one do you prefer?"
Okay.
And of course, everyone's like, "I prefer the canned water compared to the juiced caviar, please."
Yeah,
So,
please.
Yeah.
Completely stupid stuff, but they've really built a community around a non-alcoholic
Okay.
beverage
Thanks for
sort
the
of
tip.
Yeah, go take a look at it.
Yeah.
I think you'll get inspired by their story and their journey.
approach. Yeah.
And you know, it might be
It's
something
very
that you guys
engaging
can-
and very funny and humorous. It's just
they really
it's
understand
hilarious.
their target
Yeah.
audience. They're not going for the
But
you
do
know,
they put it into like, so they do a commercial around how they do it, or is it just something that you know is going on? I mean, is it something they actually do?
Yeah,
Yeah,
they did.
yeah,
They
yeah.
got people like they, but they do stuff like this all the time. Like
Okay.
actually, they did a campaign where they spent, they invested some or gambled a bunch of money on a different or a team on the Super Bowl. So saying we believe that this team for the Super Bowl is going to win, and we've also hired a witch to go to the game and put a curse on the other team. And they campaign. This is the campaign, right?
sounds so fun.
Yeah, and they also have. If you sell your soul to us, they send you a document. We'll give you a T-shirt. So people will be sending in documents that sell their soul to liquid death.
Yeah.
and then they get a T-shirt back.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
sounds very American.
hilarious.
It's very American. There's a lot of skateboard culture on it. So they like it's two skateboard.
Yeah.
Or one skateboard ex-professional skateboarder that built it. So check them out.
I'll do.
I know
Thank
that
you.
this is not about liquid death. This is about
Yeah,
Carlsberg.
Carlsberg,
But
yeah.
let's go back to that. But I do think like you can do it, but it does. There's also been like Babe Rosé. I don't know if you who got bought by one of your competitors a few years ago. That also built a huge community as well. But that was because Fat Jewish, that influencer. Do you know him?
Yeah.
He was like the founder behind it. And,
Okay.
Yeah, and that's
So
you know,
they had
they
a-
also do crazy shit. I think it's all about the crazy shit for.
But I do like and it's very, of course, it's been a thing for a lot of years. It's very, very modern take on it, especially on innovation. But
Yeah.
again, if you ask, sometimes consumers, they do not know what they want.
No.
So also
True.
sometimes it's hard to ask
can't
them
ask
what
them.
do
Yeah,
no.
you gotta show it
And
to
that's
them
when
first.
we create new brands and say, would you buy this? Then we get a number, 50% will like, 50 will not. I mean, it's just like, but they don't know
Yeah.
before it's just in front of them. So
Yeah.
sometimes we also need to trust the data we have in-house and then
course,
develop based on that.
Do you see any untapped potential that you actually wish you could unfold on social media, for instance, to reach a different kind of audience?
So yes, I mean, there's this app called TikTok.
Yeah.
that we are,
What is?
and I'm sorry.
We've heard of it.
Yeah, exactly. Something's cooking there, but we
Yeah.
cannot be on TikTok. And that's
Okay.
the thing about being in the alcohol industry. We have so many
But
regulations,
even as a non-alcoholic brand,
and even as
because
a non-alcoholic brand.
it's wrapped in that
That's so
world.
much untapped
I mean,
potential.
of course, the
Yeah.
Coke business can do it. I mean, Fanta, Sprite, Coca-Cola, Zero,
Yeah.
etc. They can.
do
I'm quite sure
whatever.
they can. I don't work with that kind of business.
Yeah.
But no, we're not allowed to because when we have non-alcoholic, for instance, it's linked to a beer brand.
Yeah.
And we cannot
So
promote by
minors
any.
can minors buy non-alcoholic beverages?
Yes, they can, but in theory, we should have some legislation around that as well. But it's just wrong by
Yeah.
nature.
It
And-
feels wrong, but then it also is like, yeah, but there's no alcohol in it.
I mean, that's what I remember back when I was, when you you could buy these ciders with 0.4% alcohol, and
just
you were like,
this
oh my
huge-
god, this is
Yeah,
exciting. But that was a thing in Denmark.
had to drink like 30 of them.
As a 10-year-old, but no, of course we cannot.
Okay.
It's not regulated yet, but under below 18, we are not able to do it. We need to
Yeah.
take responsibility.
Yeah, I love that. I think
Yeah.
I think it's nice.
Yeah, but of course, some of the media that we do, I mean, it can translate down to, or what do you say, travel down to the younger audience, but we
course.
try to make sure that we don't target those
Yeah.
audience. So
Yeah.
TikTok is missing out, definitely. I remember we did a dance challenge. These when they were very popular, and you see them all the time on the
Of
reels.
course, yeah.
We thought it was very interesting, or a nice way to use Instagram or social media in a different way. And then we only had an Instagram account, but everyone did the challenge on TikTok. So I mean, it was just
Yeah.
we couldn't
But
see
why-
it, and it was not.
Yeah. Why have you guys chosen non-TikTok? Because essentially, like Reels, TikTok, exactly the same. I mean, they ask you but your age. So there is an age restriction element, and you could restrict accounts to a certain age group.
What do you mean? Sorry.
You can restrict a TikTok account to a specific age.
Yes, but they will not allow us any
They won't-
alcohol.
they won't allow you guys.
No.
That's
it's
what it
not
is.
us.
Yeah, yeah.
No, it's them.
That's
it's,
them.
It's them.
Okay, that's
Ah,
okay.
okay.
It's them. Yeah.
Yeah, I must
so
admit,
no
I had
alcohol
no idea.
content at all.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's the same with the Snapchat. We can actually manage on Snapchat.
Yeah. Okay.
So
So you have to
That's
have
interesting.
kind of a workaround or something like that if you need to do stuff like that.
we need to
Yeah.
wait them to say, okay, guys, you can come now. You're welcome on TikTok.
Yeah, okay.
That's
interesting.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
yeah.
There's a
But,
campaign about that somewhere. Like, we're not on TikTok, so we've made our own drink talk.
yeah, I think that's going to be a huge trend. Yeah.
What about Be Real?
Oh,
Do you know if alcohol brands can be on Be Real? We talked about this yesterday about doing like some weird things on Be Real for
exactly.
for brands, because we think like
You can
there's some-
gamify it. Yeah,
you can
I
gamify
see huge
it.
potential in
Yeah.
B-roll. I'm like I'm not a super fan.
You are a super
but
fan.
I've been
Like,
I've
every
been
day we
sticking
talk
with
about
it
B-roll.
since it came to Denmark, and I'm like,
is it big?
I'm a
Sorry.
fan.
No, it's
Because we
not.
don't use it.
it's not big for
big for
brands.
you.
Yeah,
No.
it's big for me, and I know it's gonna be big. I mean, the statistics are going up with B-roll.
Yeah.
Yeah, and all the rest
So-
when all the rest start copying it,
Yeah,
you go.
you know you have something.
Yeah,
good.
so TikTok has introduced their own like sort of Be Real-esque tools.
Yeah.
Instagram has also done the
the
same.
dual camera thing.
Yes.
So
Yes.
like when that happens, you go, okay, something here is interesting.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it could be, yeah.
Yeah,
But
I see the potential.
I see some
Yeah.
potential there too. But
Yeah.
it would be, you have to find a reason for people to come and follow you to see those snaps.
Exactly.
So you'd have to like figure out, you'd have to be very agile and like at that certain time already have something very interesting set up. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
could be done through celebrities. Which celebrity are we with today? Which,
You can gamify it
Yeah.
at least, so it can be a
some
little bit
discount codes for
treasure
the
hunting
store.
or something
Yeah,
like
it could
that.
be
Yeah.
like a.
But
sort of a
actually, I
treasure
think
hunting.
there's a lot of course, it's also when we develop specific assets for, if we do a Snapchat filter or something,
Yeah.
of course, it's more cost to the campaign. And we are already doing like maybe 10 or 15 different formats for a
Yeah.
specific campaign. So right now, I mean, Instagram, Facebook, so social media in general is more of it's sponsored, of course, so it's more of a reach game because we know the audience is there. But I think we can learn a lot from brands or for others in the industry to actually develop this further, because I don't think we've made, I mean, to make this engaging, but we're not quite sure if they want to engage with us. And then you need to do it in a different way. That's where when we have the events, we go all crazy and make sure people feel engaged. And then we utilize that, what's going on there, and post it on social media and tell everyone about it. But
sort of what they missed out on.
exactly,
Yeah,
yeah.
gives them some
Look
FOMO.
how cool this is. But
should have been there.
But
sort of thing.
all these kind of different gimmicks and so on, it's I think Coca-Cola has done a good job on some of their campaigns,
Yeah.
but it's just a different game for them because we are regulated in that.
Of course.
And it's very much
it-
the younger one, the younger generation utilizing these.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Yeah.
So
you have
it's-
to be careful.
Yeah, and I think you have time. Like, I don't think, most also, there's not a lot of pickiness also when you're a young person in terms of what you're drinking and how, like, is there? I'm sorry.
What do you ask me?
That was
You're a young
compliment.
person. Is there? Because
Well,
I think
I
when you're
do.
young, when you're like, 18
think
to
it's-
24, you're like,
Yeah, I
Okay.
don't think when you're that young, I don't think you care. You just care about the price,
You
and
care
then you
about
don't
the
even care about
price.
the taste. Yeah,
you do a little bit, but
I
not-
do.
You
But
care, but
yeah, but I'm also not 14. Or
No.
what's the legal drinking age? Sorry, sorry, 16.
I think it's 18.
Cut it out.
No, it's 16, I think. Anyway.
Yeah, 16.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's difficult, but then I think you
It
guys
is.
have time. Like, TV is still also, like you said, Flow TV is still great for some
For some,
aspects.
yeah.
And let's see where it goes.
Otherwise, there's on-demand like spots you
Yeah,
can have. Right?
and
So
we
that's
are
also streaming.
investing
So.
a lot in that as well, of course.
course,
Yeah,
yeah.
we are.
Okay, speaking of this and time and
You
and
have
the
time.
future, time
time is
flies.
running now on the
Speaking of,
podcast.
very smooth segue here.
Yeah.
Speaking of time, and then it makes me think of the future. So, so I would really love to know, where do you see from a marketing perspective, where are we going in this industry in the future? Where you're headed?
With Carlsberg or
Yeah,
just
with the-
Carlsberg
with-
on media?
Yeah, Carlsberg.
Now, tell us on the non-alcoholic part, because I think that's interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah,
maybe
It's a
visionary
growing
part.
category, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
So,
It is a growing category.
Yeah, so where do you see it going?
Up.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I mean, in the future, non-alcoholic. That's also why. I mean, now we have a team. We used to have an alcohol-free beer brand manager. Now we have a whole team looking after it,
that's
both
great.
globally and locally. So this is definitely where we're heading. I mean, there's been a health trend for a long time, so it's not something new. But I think we see a bigger moderation trend. Where people, I mean, there's debit credit kind of mindset where, okay, I can knock myself out in the weekend, but I mean, then I want to maybe slow down or, for instance, on festivals, I mean, it's very common that you drink some alcohol-free beer throughout the day, so you can last.
Really?
For the more adult segment, maybe.
Is that a tip?
That's very, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And then, so that we moderate it more. And I think so, people are drinking less, to be frank with you, and to be honest. They are drinking less beer. They trade up sometimes and choose some premium beer brands instead. So the craft and specialty is growing as well.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of people who have decided either they just want to slow down on alcohol, which makes alcohol-free very relevant, or just completely take out the alcohol. And that's, I mean, as a brewing company, you want to make sure so you can still be part of the group. You can still have fun. You can still... I mean, we all know this feeling maybe. I used to play handle for a lot of years, so when I had a game on Sunday, I always had, if I want to join a party or whatever, so I was drinking water. And then it was quite obvious that I was drinking water, like, oh, why are you drinking water? And that's back to the culture we have in Denmark, which is that's awful. Like,
so
what's wrong with you? Why are you not drinking?
It's
you're
so
pregnant,
weird.
you have to drive, or you're just weird.
You have to have an excuse to not drink.
Every single
Exactly,
time.
and that's something we really want to put focus on and take away. So if you have an alcohol-free beer, if you pour it into a glass, no one
Nobody
can tell
notices.
that it's alcohol-free. And then also, for instance, the Blanc 1664, we also have an alcohol-free version of that. You're still standing with the blue bottle, and it looks like you're drinking beer, so you can be part of the community.
I have a lot of friends who mistakenly bought the alcohol-free one because they thought it looked so similar to the regular one.
Oh, I once had a consumer who could not have alcohol, and then by mistake she bought the alcohol, and that's, I mean, the other way around, you just get pissed because you have no alcohol, but you're like, oh my god, I cannot drink alcohol. So we know that, and we need to make sure, but it's a balance. So industry wise, alcohol-free beer for sure. And then we are expanding. Now I'm also looking after cocktails. That's totally new in Carlsberg. So we are expanding into different categories. And
is that mocktails you're part of, or actual cocktails?
No, so
now you're on the alcohol side as well?
Yeah. So that's, I mean, my team. So one day we're sober, the next day we are.
What is going on over there? It's like we want you to run the alcohol-free, but cocktails as well.
So I have the growing categories, the
you really
categories.
do.
Speaking of the future, so cocktails are growing as well, especially the pre-mixed ones. So that for sure. And then, I mean, I don't know how many competitors are listening to this, but maybe the Carlsberg, I don't know, will we do... coffee in the future? We don't know. So of course we always look into what's trending and how we can utilize the technologies and the knowledge that we have, and then make, great beverages. Exactly.
Great. I love it.
So, but beer will still be the core of what we do always. But I hope alcohol-free will.
And I think the trick is more beers. I think like we've just seen that trend of craft brews and IPA, like things that are a little bit more, and that actually has gone for many centuries. It's been like sort of, there was a consolidation. There was only a few big beer brands, and then before then was all microbrewery, then few big brands, and now back to microbrewery, right? So I think you guys are on that swing right now of many different brands that people can try out.
And of course we launch, 4 to 5 different variants each year. New variants, and we take some out and we add some because of course it's about the news value to make sure that people want to try you and try the brand. So I agree.
Cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Okay.
We'll be watching.
Yeah, we'll be watching all the innovation as well from both marketing and products.
That'll be good. Based on data.
Yep. Data-driven, community-driven.
Social first.
Here you have it, guys. Insight marketing for the growing categories at Carlsberg, Denmark from Charlotte Høgh Damgaard, the head of marketing for alcohol-free beer, cider, cocktails. Thank you for tuning in, and stay tuned for next one.
Thank you, guys.
Bye.
See you.
Thank you.
This has been the Social Media Sucks Podcast.